On August 14, 2021, Christopher Harvey dialed 911 from the home he shared with his ex-girlfriend, Rodrica Hill. He claimed that he just got home and found his girlfriend gravely injured, and that the back door of the home had been left open. The evidence, however, painted a very different picture. According to the evidence, Christopher Harvey was not happy with the breakup, and he was not happy that Rodrica started seeing someone else. The state eventually charged Christopher Harvey with Rodrica Hill's murder, claiming that he murdered the young mother due to jealousy. His interrogation has gained popularity due to his commitment to the story that someone else did it, although he admitted that he was mad at Rodrica because she had brought her new man to their home. So this is Christopher Harvey's trial for the murder of ex-girlfriend Rodrica Hill. Representing the state are prosecutors Brittany Fox and Andrea Diaz. Representing the defendant, Christopher Harvey, are Assistant Public Defenders Brooke Brewer, Amy Lim, and Dina Duncan. At his interrogation, Christopher Harvey seemed unhinged, and his defense story seemed implausible. Let's see if he has a better defense at trial, with the help of 3 members of the excellent local public defender's office.
Sounds like we have our jury back. Are you ready to get back on the record?
Seat's ready.
Yes,
Would you like Smith to go ahead and...
Yes, please. Is he here? So let's go back on the record. It's 2021 CF 2146, State of Florida versus Christopher Harvey. The defendant is present in a courtroom with his counsel, and all the other counsel are back as well. Anything we need to take up before we bring the jury in?
No, sir.
I guess the scheduling doesn't need to be on the record, but State, do you want to preview what you anticipate being able to accomplish this afternoon?
I'm going to get through Sergeant Smith Part 1, then jump to Jasmine Williams to get her on her way, and then continue from that point on. So Blake Howard, Monier. We'll see if we can get to Sergeant Smith Part 2. Hopefully we can.
What's the difference between Part 1 and 2?
Different scenes. Spatially, different locations. So laying context about the other location with the other witnesses before we jump into it with Sergeant Smith.
So it doesn't seem like Howard and Monier would take that long?
No, sir. No, I mean, not from my perspective.
Any comment on that, defense? All right. So as soon as we get the clerk back, I think we'll be ready for the jury.
Or waiting, can I approach them with some photos?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, can I switch it in with one more?
Yep.
All right.
Please be seated. State, you may continue your examination.
Thank you. All right, Sergeant Smith, when we last left off, we were talking about the interior of the Cathedral Drive residence. We saw in some of those photographs projectile fragments near that blood pool in the kitchen and dining room.
Yes.
Did you collect those, what you believed were suspected projectile fragments?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. And do you have that in front
Yes,
of you?
I do.
Is that listed as State's Exhibit 8? Yeah, it is?
It is.
Okay. How do you recognize that?
I recognize it with the envelope, my label that I put on there, and then the evidence tape that we put on the back and sign and date.
Okay. Does it appear to be tampered with or altered in any way other than being sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for analysis?
No, I see the labs tape on there, but no, it's been the same.
I would move 8 into evidence.
8 submitted.
I want to move now to back outside the house.
Okay.
Did you do a search of that white dually Ford pickup truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you take photographs of that truck?
Yes, I did.
Right. Have you had a chance to review states 4A through U, which are photographs of your search of the truck?
Yes, I did.
And are those fair and accurate depictions of that truck when you searched it and what was located?
Yes.
Okay. I would move 4A through U into evidence.
Objection there? 4A through U admitted.
Sorry,
You may
Ed.
publish.
Thank you. The got switched again. All right, so looking at states 4A, I think we previously saw photos of the full exterior of this truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And which door are we looking at in this photograph?
This is the front driver's door.
And 4B?
That's the interior of the car through the window.
For C?
That is the bed of the truck, just up near the toolbox.
And 4D?
That's the rest of the bed area.
Anything of evidentiary value found in the back of the truck, including the toolbox?
No, ma'am.
For E? With the toolbox open?
No, ma'am. No.
That's the toolbox open on 4E?
Yes, it is.
And for F, where are we looking now?
That's the driver's door interior.
All right. Did you take a swab from this door for potential DNA?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to the jury where you swabbed?
That was a swab from the gasket that goes around the door.
Okay. And when you say gasket that goes around the door, what do you
It's
mean?
the black gasket that goes around to
that-
secure it from the weather.
Where my cursor is?
Yes, ma'am.
The picture kind of cuts this off. I don't know if I can go to 4G, but where do you run your swab?
Well, we used a chemical called Blue Star, and Blue Star illuminates when it comes in contact with blood, and when it did, that's what we swabbed, and it was on the gasket. It was in the back area of this gasket.
Okay. When you do a swab for DNA, how does that work?
We have, depending upon if the blood or whatever we're collecting is wet or dry. If it's dry, we take a sample with some sterile water, send that off to the lab, and then we have a swab that we put some of the solution on, which is just sterile water, and we gently rub it up by rolling the swab, put it into a box, and then put it into one of our envelopes and secure it, stick it in the lab, or in the vault, I'm sorry.
You may.
I'm showing you what happens as State Exhibit 11. You can take a look at it and let me know if you recognize it.
I sure do.
Okay. And what is State 11?
This is the swab with the black gasket around the rear driver's side door of the Ford F-350. And it's got my tape on it, my envelope, and sticker.
Okay. And when you say rear driver's side, does that mean the door behind the driver door?
Yes.
Right. Other than being sent to FDLE, does it appear to have been tampered with or altered in any
No,
way?
it doesn't.
I would move States 11 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
11 submitted.
So moving on to 4H. Anything of value in the front seat other than some keys?
Keys, and that's it.
4I. What are we looking at?
The center console.
Okay. Is this similar to what we were talking about with the house photos you photographed as you found it?
Yes, just as we found it. Before it's disturbed.
4J.
Yeah, the glove box.
And this, you've opened it at this point?
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay. Anything of value in the glove box?
There, if I'm not mistaken, there was, in the glove box, we had the GPS tracker.
Okay. Is that the glove box or the center console?
Center console. I got the,
So 4K is the passenger seat in the front?
yes, passenger seat.
And 4L?
That is the interior of the center console.
Okay. And what was located in the center console?
The GPS tracker was located in there.
Is that the Spark Nano 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. What is that?
That is a device used to track belongings, and it's got magnets on it and a case to stick on a vehicle so you can track it, and it hooks up to a phone so you can stay in constant contact with it.
Okay. 4M?
That is the actual monitoring device.
Okay. So you've taken it out of the box?
Yes.
May I approach?
You may.
I'm showing you what I have labeled as States Exhibit 9. Do you recognize States Exhibit 9?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
Based on my packaging and the labeling and tape.
Okay. What is it?
It is the NanoSpark 7 tracking device.
Okay. And that was collected from Mr. Harvey's white truck.
That is correct.
I would move States 9 into evidence. No objection.
States 9 submitted.
Okay. What are we looking at in 4N?
This is the case that goes around the nano device. It's got the magnets on it so you can stick it to a metal.
So this blue thing is the tracker itself,
Yes.
and then this is a box that the tracker goes inside, and you stick that onto anything like metal.
Yes, ma'am.
4O.
That is a cell phone, and the tracker, and the box that the tracker goes in.
For P,
That is the phone that was located in the vehicle.
what kind of a phone was it?
It's a track phone, TCL brand.
Is that's not a Samsung?
Samsung,
It's a TCL, not a Samsung. Right?
correct, TCL.
For Q,
That is, we're looking at 2 black boots, a bag of candy, and a cup in the back seat of the Ford F-350.
for R, getting closer to the boots.
Yes,
And for S, is that after you've removed one of the boots?
yes.
Okay, did you collect those boots?
I collected those boots. They came back with the Blue Star as well.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Blue Star indicated that there was the presence of blood on the boot itself.
You may.
I'm showing you now what I marked as states 10.
Okay.
Just wait for me.
All right.
How we ended up with states 10?
I do recognize it
How do you recognize it?
based on my packaging.
All right. And what is states 10?
States 10 is the black boots collected from the back of the vehicle.
Great. Other than being repackaged into clear so that the jury can see it, has it been tampered with or altered in any way?
I can't tell that it has, no.
Okay. I would move states 10 into evidence.
States 10 is admitted.
All right. So going to 4T, is this just after you removed the boots from the back seat of the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What are kind of these? Are these just various like plastic shopping bags or?
Yes. One had candy in it, the other water.
For you?
The back seat of the Ford F-350.
Okay. Anything else of evidentiary value in the truck, or was that it?
That was it.
Okay. Moving on, I think I took this away from you, but have you had a previous chance to review 5A through 5U, the photographs of Miss Hill's Mazda?
Yes, I don't have them with me, but I did look.
Okay. Do you need to see them?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are 5A through 5U fair and accurate depictions of some of the photographs you took of Miss Hill's Mazda and the search of it?
Yes, they are.
I would move 5A through 5S, not U, into evidence.
5A through S are admitted.
Yes. Permission to publish?
You may.
Okay. So looking at 5A, what area of the car are we in?
This is the driver's side with the seat cover and the purse and other items from the belonging to the victim.
Okay. Did you locate anything in the purse?
Yes, there was a cell phone in the purse.
What kind of a cell phone?
Samsung, I believe.
Okay. Would you need to see it to see?
Yes, please.
All right. May I approach?
You may.
I'm showing you an states 12.
My correction, it was an Apple iPhone from the purse.
All right. And is states 12 the Apple iPhone 8 that you obtained from the victim's purse that was inside the Mazda?
Yes, it is.
I would move 12 into evidence.
Objection to 12. States 12 is admitted.
So moving to 5B.
That's a picture of the closer into the purse.
5C is the same. All right, 5D, where are we looking at now?
Looking at the back seat with clothing.
5E.
That's going to be the rear passenger side, just more clothing and items.
Does that include like clothes on hangers?
Yes.
Was that consistent with the closet that you located in the primary bedroom in the home?
Yes.
And 5F,
5F, the passenger front door.
what is, I mean, kind of looks very like liquid or steam. Is that just the rain that had been coming down?
The rain was coming in, yes.
Okay. All right, 5G.
Suitcase, pillows, and a comforter, front passenger seat.
And 5H.
This is the trunk area, just some items, chairs and stuff.
What can you tell me about this flap? Is that something you did?
No, the flap is the carpeting that has been pulled down. It's supposed to be stuck up on the, if you can take a look at it on the side. It's form-fitted for the vehicle, and this one is pulled down.
Okay. Is that the only area that had pulled down carpeting?
Yes.
What's on the underside of this pulled down carpeting?
Metal is on the underside.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned that you at some point took the vehicle to a secure location to continue the search because of the weather.
Yes.
All right. 5I. What are we looking at?
We're looking at the contents of the purse.
Okay. Aside from the Apple iPhone that you retrieved from it, were there any other cell phones located in the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
And 5J, is this kind of inside the secure facility now?
Yes, it is.
5K,
The center console.
anything of value found there?
No, ma'am.
5L,
This is the suitcase that was located on the passenger front seat.
okay. And is the stuff to the right of it the contents that you took out as you were going through it?
Yes, ma'am.
What was located in the suitcase?
Basically clothing and shoes. This is personal belongings.
Could you tell if it was women's clothing or men's clothing?
Women's clothing.
That was 5M, going to 5N.
Women's shoes. They were also located on the front seat on the passenger side.
5O.
And the pillows.
Okay. What's down here at the very bottom of the front passenger seat?
The comforter.
And is that 5P? Is that the comforter spread out?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
5Q? The back seat
Yep,
with
the
the
back
hangers?
seat on the passenger side.
5R?
These are the contents that were on the driver's side rear.
In the laundry basket?
Yes, ma'am.
5S? Is this after the laundry basket's been removed?
Yes.
Clothing on hangers?
Clothing on hangers, the water.
Right. Did you take apart every single item in this car? I know we're only looking at a small amount of photographs.
We're looking at a very small amount.
Okay. Any cell phones located?
No cell phones.
Okay. And including the house of the search of Cathedral, inside the house itself, no cell phones were located?
No cell phones.
Okay. And I meant aside from the iPhone that was located in the purse. Okay. You mentioned that the house had a Ring doorbell attached.
Yes, it did.
May I approach?
You may.
I'm trying to mark this state 7. I think you also have states 6, 8, and 2.
Okay.
So if you could take a look at state 7 and tell me how you recognize it.
This is the Ring doorbell that was located in the front of the house.
All right, and for reference, I'm publishing 3B. Is state 7 this Ring doorbell?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. How did you go about getting that doorbell off?
There was a screw holding it on, and it was just removed. But taking it off, just pulling the screw through.
Other than putting it in a clear plastic so the jury could see it, has it been tampered with or altered in any way?
No, ma'am, it hasn't.
I would move State 7 into evidence.
No objection.
State 7 is admitted.
All right. Did you also, once you were back to the lab, take photographs of the doorbell?
Yes.
All right. And then did that include I guess, a serial number or some kind of?
Yeah, it had the model number and serial number of that unit.
Okay. And have you had a chance to look at those photos in states A through C?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they fair and accurate depictions of the Ring doorbell that's State 7 Ring doorbell?
Yes.
Okay. I would move 6A through C into evidence.
Objection to this?
No objection.
States 6A through C are admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
Okay. So looking at 6A, is the front of the doorbell?
Yes, that is the doorbell.
6B, the back of the doorbell?
Yes, it is. And that's where we got the information on the model. And
Okay. Publishing 6C, just a kind of a closer look. Was this Ring doorbell, when you took it off, was it hardwired into the house?
no, it was not.
Okay. So it was how did it run?
It ran on a battery. The battery is rechargeable and would require a connection to electricity to charge.
Okay. Well, so with a battery, was there a battery in that Ring?
No, there was no battery in the Ring camera.
Can you explain on this Ring model how you get the battery out?
Sure. The way you retrieve the battery from here, you take the front cover off, and there's a little tab underneath, and it just slides out.
Okay. And is that this down here? Is there a screw right here?
There is a place for a screw, yes.
Okay. Did you find a screw?
No, ma'am.
Would you later locate a Ring battery at a secondary scene?
Yes, on another scene, we did locate the battery.
Okay. Did you also attend, I think you already mentioned, the autopsy of Rodrica?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Can I approach?
You may.
I'm showing you what I have marked as State's Exhibits 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33. Review.
Okay.
While you're looking at those, there's permission to publish to the jury States 7, the doorbell, and States 9, the tracker.
You may.
So you were at Cathedral on August 14th of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. When was the autopsy performed?
That was the following day,
Right. August 15th?
15th.
And who performed the autopsy?
Dr. Clark did.
Okay. Did you take custody from Dr. Clark a couple of pieces of evidence that he recovered from Miss Hill's autopsy?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. I want to start with 30 and 31.
Okay.
Can you explain to the jury what a buccal swab is?
Sure. We have buccal swabs, and we're required to do a left and a right buccal swab on each individual, and therefore our standards for DNA.
Okay.
So
And
we
when
use
you
them for
say,
comparison.
when you say buccal, what is that? Where is it?
It's inside the mouth, inside the cheek. So we use, again, the swab, and we go in there and get the DNA.
Okay. And new swab for each, new swab for each, new pair of gloves for each.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is states 30?
States 30 is the left buccal swab of Rodrica Hill
Okay. And that was taken, you obtained that from her at the time of the autopsy.
at the time of the autopsy, yes.
All right. What about 31?
31 is going to be the right buccal swab of Rodrica Hill.
Okay. Other than being sent to FDLE, does it appear to be tampered with or altered in any way?
No. It's original packaging.
All right. I would move 30 and 31 into evidence.
30 and 31 are admitted.
Moving to 32.
Okay.
What is states 32?
32 is the projectile that we recovered from the cheek,
Okay.
the right cheek of Ms. Hill.
Okay. And other than being sent to FDLE, is it in same or substantially the same condition as when you last saw it? Hasn't been tampered with or altered?
Has not been tampered with.
Okay. I would move 32 into evidence.
32 is admitted.
And then on to 33. What's states 33?
This is going to be the projectile that was recovered from the base of the skull.
All right. And that was to the back of the head?
Yes.
Okay. Does it, other than being sent to FDLE, appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as when you recovered it and hasn't been tampered with or altered in any way?
It is in the same, and no tampering.
All right. I would move 33 into evidence.
States 33 is admitted.
Moving to 29. What is states 29?
29 is a sex assault kit that we perform on the victims during the autopsy.
All right. Why would a sex assault kit be performed?
Sex assault kits are performed to see if there's any other DNA inside the body, vaginally, through hair, or on the skin.
I guess, is it something that's done in every single homicide?
No, not every that I know of, but I would say the majority of autopsies would consist of having a SAE kit.
Okay. And that's, I guess, can you go through with the jury what swabs are a part of a SANE kit?
Sure. There's multiple swabs for the vaginal area. There's a comb for the pubic area, the comb for any other hair, DNA, and each one is packaged separately. We also have swabs for skin as well, like arms, if you need legs, inside the thighs. So
Okay.
there's multiple swabs for that and multiple cases to put those in.
All right. And did you perform this kit on Miss Hill?
This was done by the doctor, yes,
Okay.
during the autopsy.
Did you then package it?
Yes.
Okay. Is the packaging and the same kit in the same or substantially the same condition as when you impounded it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I would move 29 into evidence.
29 is admitted.
Do you have any way of, you mentioned Blue Star for blood, do you have anything that you can use during an autopsy to swab for semen?
Yes,
Okay.
we do. We have a chemical we can use for swabbing for semen.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And where do you put the chemical?
Yeah, this was done, taken again by swab, and we did do the vaginal area.
Okay. What was the result of that
That was
presumptive
negative.
test? Negative for semen.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think you mentioned that you also had a role in a secondary scene at Botney Place, but I think we're going to talk about that later this afternoon, so that's all I have at this point in time.
Okay.
Any cross on that? Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you?
Just deputy, but yes.
Just what?
Deputy. I'm just a detective.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she was calling you sergeant.
Probably accidentally inflating your rank.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to get my bearings with what we're talking about, you were responsible for several scenes, is that right?
I was assisting on several scenes, yes.
Okay, in fact, you were the only one processing the scene at Cathedral Drive.
Yes.
So in addition to the Cathedral Drive, I know we didn't just talk about it, but you also processed the scene at Botney Place,
I
right?
did. Yes.
Okay, you also processed the Mazda that we just saw.
Correct.
That was done partially at Cathedral and then partially at your facility.
Yes, ma'am, due to weather, yes.
Okay, and the weather was rainy.
Yes.
Okay, and so that affected some of the evidence on the outside of the home at Cathedral.
It did.
Okay. You also processed the truck that we saw at Cathedral Drive.
I did that as well, yes.
Okay, but that car was not taken to the facility and processed anywhere else.
It was not, just processed on scene.
Okay, so we have those three scenes, and then you also went to the autopsy.
Yes.
Okay. You took 751 photos and 22 videos at Cathedral Drive.
That's about right.
You took 169 photos at the autopsy. Is that right?
It's probably about right.
Okay. 114 photos at Botney.
Probably close to that, yes.
All right.
I don't know the actual numbers, but
Well, you have them in your report,
in my
right?
report, yeah.
Okay. Do you have your report with you?
I do not.
Okay. We need to, I can get you a copy.
Yeah.
And you took 117 photos of the Mazda.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. You told us what it means to swab for items.
Yes.
You did that at Cathedral, right?
Yes, I did.
You collected 31 items at Cathedral Drive.
Yes.
And not to be redundant, one of the things that you collected was the Caltech 32 caliber gun.
I did.
Okay. You also swabbed the interior door handle of the laundry room.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You swabbed the top of the island in the kitchen.
Yes.
You collected a black track cell phone from the white truck.
Yes.
You collected the black boots that we just saw.
That I did.
You swabbed the rear passenger door of the Mazda.
Yes.
You swabbed the rear driver door of the Ford.
Yes.
You collected an Apple iPhone.
That I did.
You swabbed the passenger rear exterior door of the Ford.
Yes.
And then we were just talking about the swab that you took. It was pursuant to search warrant 25. It says swab the black gasket around the rear driver's side door.
Yes. That's where the blue star activated.
Well, my question is this. The photo that we saw appeared to be of the front driver's side door.
It was.
And this is a little bit ambiguous about the rear driver's side door.
Mhm.
So is that the rear door or the rear of the driver's door?
The rear door itself.
Okay.
So that's why we said it was behind that, because the picture only went so far. But it was the rear side of the door, the driver's side.
Okay, so the photo we saw was not what you swabbed for item number 25.
Correct.
Okay. And I think I might have messed this up. You swabbed and collected the apple that was found in the box. Is that
I
right?
would have to look at the report for swabbing it, but I know I collected it.
Would you like to?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
I'm going to hand you your initial report, page 1. There's 11 pages. I think it's page 5. And the item numbers are 23 and 29.
Okay. I don't see SW23 in the report. I see SW29.
You don't see SW23 in the report?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay. You see that there's 2 entries for SW22?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Okay, well, while you have that in front of you, you did not collect the necklace that we previously saw a photo of?
Sagittarius?
Yes, sir.
That is correct.
You did not collect that?
That I did not collect.
Okay. And then we just saw the week before, though. In your report, you never notated that there was a missing battery. Is that correct?
No, I note where it was, but I did not.
Okay. And you likewise never photographed the fact that it was missing a battery. Is that correct?
In the lab, we did.
In the photos that we just saw?
In the lab, there should have, be no battery.
You have additional photos that we didn't just all see?
No, I mean, just the photos of looking at it on scene and in the lab.
Okay, but we just saw the 3 photos that you took in the lab,
Mm-hmm.
and none of those photographs show that there's a missing battery, correct?
Thought it might. I don't know.
Okay.
I can look at them again.
Okay, this is a photo that we just saw that's labeled as, well, it's not labeled. Is this similar to the photo that we just saw?
Yes.
Okay. And that photograph does not show that there's a missing battery, is that correct?
It shows the bottom part, but no, it does not show the battery missing.
Okay. And likewise, you didn't notate in your report, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, I'd like to move on to the autopsy that you attended.
Yes.
You went through a number of things that you collected while at the medical examiner's office.
Yes.
Okay, you also collected fingernail scrapings and fingernail clippings.
That is correct.
All right. And when you collect these items, you just take them and put them in the evidence vault. Is that correct?
Do you want me to explain how we do the fingerprints or fingernails and scrapings?
No.
Okay.
You just take all the items that you collect and place them in the evidence vault.
Yes, once they're packaged.
Okay. And you don't make a determination about what evidence is sent out to any other labs.
I do not.
You just collect and photograph.
That's all I do.
And a detective or someone senior would make the determination as to what items were tested.
Yes.
And is it your understanding you will be back to testify about the second scene that you attended?
Yes, I was told.
Okay. Well, you're on the man French.
You may.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's all the questions I have.
State redirect. Go ahead. You may.
I'm showing you state 7, the ring battery. I'm showing you the photos that was photographed, but there wasn't a battery inside. Could you open that up for us and show us if there's a battery inside?
I think, Ms. Fox, you said for the record, state 7, the ring battery, but you meant a ring doorbell?
Sorry, yes, the ring doorbell.
Okay.
Ring battery is something else. Permission for him to show the jury if you want to do that, so you can see.
Yeah, go ahead. Could you just-
So no battery in the.
There is no battery.
Ms. Brewer asked you about the swab of the white truck, that gasket. That was probably my fault as far as the photograph. Rear driver's side door. Was it the driver's side door that was on the rear side of the driver's side door?
It's on the rear passenger driver side.
Okay. So you've got the driver's side door and then the passenger side door.
Yes, ma'am.
On the driver's side. And that swab is from the passenger door on the driver's side.
Yes.
And she also asked you about a compact 32 caliber gun that was located. Where was that located?
It was located in the closet in the master bedroom.
Where in the closet?
I'd have to look at the photographs
Okay.
on my
Do you
report.
remember if it was in a shoebox?
Yes.
Or if it was just open on display somewhere?
It was not open. It was in a box.
Okay. So where, at what point did you find that firearm?
That's when we were doing the search of the house.
Okay. Not in plain view anywhere?
No.
Did it appear to have been used?
No.
Was the magazine in the firearm?
Yes.
Okay. Were you aware of, well, let me ask you this. Did you become aware of the caliber that Ms. Hill was shot with?
At autopsy, I was.
Okay, and what was
Well, after autopsy. So we had to wait till the ballistics came back.
Okay. And what caliber was that?
That was 9mm.
Okay. Is a 9mm different than a 32 caliber?
Yes.
Okay. Would there have been any reason to send that 32 caliber off to the lab? For analysis?
Objection, Your Honor, outside the scope of the knowledge. We
Overruled.
discussed it.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Why?
It's just one of the decisions that are made, but we knew what caliber was used in the crime.
Okay. So this 32 caliber gun was found in a shoebox in the closet in someone's home.
Yes.
And it was completely different caliber than what the murder weapon is all over.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Sir, you may step down. State your next witness.
It cost Jasmine Williams.
Yes, ma'am. Those exhibits still there? Oh. Ma'am, if I could have you pause right there and then stand and face our clerk. Raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right. And then just have a seat there. And then if you could pull up close to that microphone so we can hear you. All right, sir. When you're ready.
Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Williams, Jasmine Williams.
Williams, where do you live?
I live at 2828 Cathedral Drive.
Is 2954 Cathedral, is that your next door neighbor?
Yes,
Did you know back in 2021, were you familiar with who lived next door to you?
yes,
Did you know them by name?
yes.
Okay. What were the names that who lived next door to you at 2954?
Christopher Harvey and I can't remember her name exactly.
Okay. Was it her name an adult woman?
Yes,
All right. Did anyone else live there?
her daughter.
Were you familiar with what kind of cars Christopher Harvey and the adult woman drove?
I was, yes.
What did Christopher Harvey drive?
I remember it being a white pickup truck. It was like a work truck.
All right. And what about the adult woman?
It was a car. Can't remember what color. Seems like it might have been black. A dark color.
Okay. If you saw a video of a different color, would you be around?
Yeah.
Okay. Not something that you pay too much attention
Right.
to. Can you talk to the jury about the video cameras that you and your husband have set up at your home in 2028?
So we have cameras all around the house, on each corner of the house. And we have, let's see, there are about 4 outdoor cameras
Are there any cameras that are facing your, and I guess, can you give the great idea of the setup? So I'm assuming you have neighbors on the right and neighbors on the left, if I'm standing inside your house.
So if you're standing inside my house, facing the door, the front door, there are no neighbors on the left. There are no neighbors in the front. There's neighbors on the right, and there are neighbors in the back, but they're like way, way back.
Okay. And the neighbors on the right, that would be Christopher Harvey and the adult woman.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a camera that was kind of pointing towards the side of their house?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury, like, was it up close and personal in their business, or was it just it happened to catch some of their driveway in their view?
Right. So we pretty much had cameras that faced all around the house, each side of the house. So we had one that faced the road, which is the front of our house. We had one that faced their yard, and a small piece of the road, our backyard, and then one that was on the left side of our house.
Okay. Were you at home on August 14th, 2021?
Yes.
And were the cameras around your house working?
Yes. Yes, they were.
And did you have the occasion to have some police officers knock on your door that day?
Yeah.
Okay. They kind of ruined your son's drive-by birthday party that was happening?
Oh, yeah.
And this was during COVID?
Yes.
So when the deputies came up to your door, were they asking you if they could see the surveillance cameras that you may have?
Yes.
And have you had a chance to look at the videos that you guys provided to law enforcement of the camera angle that faces the Harvey home?
Yes.
And about 46 videos, does that sound right?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay. How does the video system work? Is it recorded blocks of time, or is it motion activated?
So it's continuous monitoring, and it keeps a cloud of a certain amount of time. So it's always recording, and then it holds it for so many days.
Okay. And did they obtain videos from August 14th, early hours of the morning, up until August 14th in the afternoon?
Yes.
And the videos that you had a chance to look at, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the videos that were recorded by that camera facing the Harvey's house between those time frames?
Yes, that's my video.
I would move States 39 into evidence.
Objection.
States 39 submitted.
Can you talk to the jury about publish?
You're publishing right now, you're saying?
Yeah, just for illustrative purposes.
You may publish.
So I'm first going to publish the first video just with I very get right. And Ms. Williams, we had a date and a timestamp at the top. What can you tell us about this timestamp?
So, that time is about an hour off because we at the time didn't know that there was like a daylight savings switch that we can click on. So it's an hour off.
Okay, and when you say it's an hour off, is it an hour behind?
Yeah.
Okay. So the actual Eastern time that it should be is 4:36 a.m. in this case.
Yes.
Can you get the drainage yet? That this is the side of your house. And let me pick one of the right. Better idea. And here's the 44. Where in this video can you see the Harvey house?
It's in the far top right.
Do you see a white sedan parked out here?
Yes.
Do you recognize that car?
Yeah, that's her car.
Okay. So it was white, not a color.
Yes.
How long were you guys in those communities?
So we moved out there August 2020. And so this was about a year later. They were already there before us.
I don't understand what we're looking at here, State.
Oh, it's about before.
Huh? Is this 39?
No, another video is about.
So which exhibit is this?
It's 39, it's video 44 of exhibit 39.
That's 44 is, or sorry, 39 has just several, like A through.
39 has 46 videos, it's a flash drive. It's 2 that you put on this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pause it. You just saw a white truck pull in. You recognize that truck?
And that's his truck.
Christopher Harvey's truck?
Yes.
So this would be at like 1:07 p.m. on August 14th after you convert to the front line.
Yes.
Do you remember from your living there and across from them, is this typically where each of them parked?
Yes.
She was in the front and he was up the side of the driveway.
Yes.
You mentioned that you were home that afternoon on the 14th. Did you have the occasion to see Mr. Harvey?
Yes, I was outside preparing for my son's drive-by party, and he was outside on the phone.
Okay. Were you able to gauge his demeanor when he was on the phone?
He seemed to be pretty calm, and he was on the phone talking to someone.
You weren't listening to the conversation at all?
I heard a little bit, unfortunately.
Okay. Who did it sound like he was talking to?
I can't assume who he was talking to, but I heard him say something about a puddle of blood.
And that was around, I think, around 1 o'clock that afternoon?
Yes, because I believe the party was supposed to start around 2 or 2:30, something like that. So I was just out there setting up the tent and stuff.
Shortly after that, the police law enforcement arrived?
Yes,
Not the sheriff's office?
yes.
Can you cross?
What was the word?
Go.
Good afternoon, Soyhouse.
Good afternoon.
You just told us about the surveillance that we just saw. You didn't have a chance to look at that surveillance before the officers arrived, is that right?
No, I had no reason to really go back and look at it.
Okay, so before they got there, you hadn't looked at it,
No.
all right? And so is it safe to say that you watched it for the first time when the officers came to your house?
Yes.
All right. And you didn't watch all of the footage from that night. Is that fair?
Right.
And after the police got what they needed from the surveillance, you didn't ever go back and watch it.
No, I didn't.
And we just saw two different clips. One was in night, one was during the day.
Yes.
And is it fair to say that it's much easier to see what's going on during the day?
Well, during the night, if a car has lights on or something, then the video kind of illuminates. But if it's just pitch black dark, you can't see nothing.
Okay. So is it better to say that you can only see lights at nighttime?
Lights and movement, some movement, yeah.
Okay. Is it fair to say you can't see faces?
You can see bodies.
Right. Can't tell races, right?
I'm not sure by race.
You can see shapes and shadows,
Yes.
but nothing distinguishing.
Other than their body shape and stuff like that. The color of their clothes, you know, that kind of thing.
And in between your house and the house next door at 2954 Cathedral Drive, there's a row of hedges. Aren't there?
Yes,
And that kind of obstructs some of your view of it.
a little bit, yes.
Is there anybody have to say something?
You may.
No further questions, John.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir. She can be released.
All right, thanks, ma'am. You're free to go.
Approach the clerk with Exhibit 39.
So all 44 are on that CD disc as well? I thought you said it was a flash drive.
It's a flash drive.
Oh, I see now. Okay, thanks. Let's go ahead and take a break at this time. I just remind everybody to not discuss any of the testimony or any of your thoughts about the case. Again, you want to wait until we see all the evidence, you hear the argument of the lawyers, and the instruction on the law by myself before you start forming opinions and thoughts about the case. But other than that, I will see you back in about 10 or 15 minutes. Please be seated. Anything for the record?
Yes, sir. Just to clarify, it's 46 videos. If you said 44, I may have misspoke. 46 videos, and all are on the flash drive. Each video on that flash drive has a file name, hyphen 1, hyphen 2, hyphen 3. So each video is individually labeled.
Okay. And you published 39, 44, and
I wasn't known we have 46 ABC composite, so I just kept the original labeling on the video.
yeah, I was just wondering which ones you published.
Oh,
Sure.
I published 1 and 44.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, rough the record.
All rise.
Please be seated. You ready to go back on the record?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is 2021 CF 2146, State of Florida versus Christopher Harvey. The defendant is present in the courtroom with his counsel. Other counsel are present. Anything before we bring the jury back in?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's bring it back in.
I'm going to go ahead and just put the power into the top seat, waiting in the rain.
That's fine. All right, please be seated. State, if you could call your next witness. Good afternoon, sir. If I could have you pause up here and then face our clerk. Raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right, go ahead and be seated there in the witness stand. And then pull up close to that microphone so we can hear you. State when you're ready.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's Detective Blake Howard, BLAKEHOWARD.
And how are you doing?
I'm a detective with the Leon County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been a detective for about 3.5, 4 years now, with the agency just over 8.
And prior to being a detective, were you a patrol officer?
Yeah, started out in patrol, went to our traffic unit for a little bit, but been sworn the whole time.
Back in August, on August 14th of 2021, were you working as an armed crime unit detective?
I was.
And when you guys get called out to a violent crime scene, is it just one person doing things, or do you guys kind of work with it?
It's generally, oftentimes, the entire unit, if not, parts of the unit, but yes, always more than one.
And were you part of the team that worked on the case involving Christopher Harvey?
I am, yes, ma'am.
And I want to ask you first about some cell phones that you impounded.
Yes, ma'am.
And did Deputy Bosley provide some cell phones to Deputy Bauman?
From my understanding, yes, she gave the cell phones to Deputy Bauman.
And how did you get those cell phones?
When he transported, I believe it was the defendant to the sheriff's office, that's when he turned them over to me.
All right. Were you able to review Deputy Bosley's body cam to see the defendant handing the phones and then her handing the phones to Deputy Bauman?
Yes.
You may.
I'm showing you what I have marked as states 13 and 14. If you could take a look at those two items, you can start with states 13 and tell me how you recognize it.
Yes, I recognize it as my name and ID number down at the bottom, and the packaging that we package cell phones in.
Okay, and what is states
13 is labeled as a black UMX cellular telephone. Then next to it, it's Christopher Harvey's.
13? And other than being sent to FPOE, does it appear to have been tampered with or altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Or was it 13 in the evidence?
Objection.
No objection.
13 is admitted.
You could take a look at 14 for me and tell me how you recognize 14.
Yeah, I recognize it as well as a black LG cellular, or labeled as a black LG cellular phone. It's got my name and ID number on it.
And that was also the second phone from Mr. Harvey.
Yes.
Same question, other than FPOE labels on it, appear to be tampered with or altered in any way?
No, ma'am.
Other than 14 in the evidence?
Any objection to 14?
No objection, Your Honor.
14 is admitted.
As part of your role on the team, you also do some witness interviews.
I did. Yes,
And one of the people that you interviewed named Jerry Moore.
yes ma'am.
Right? And where did that take place?
That took place at the Leon County Sheriff's Office.
Was he in custody in any way, or was it a voluntary interview?
It was a voluntary interview. Yeah, he voluntarily came to the sheriff's office to speak about the incident.
Did you take some photographs of Mr. Moore?
I did,
You
yes,
also
ma'am.
take some photographs of his cell phone,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And that was with his consent?
Yes, ma'am.
You also obtained some plastic swabs from him.
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach?
You may.
I'm approaching with states 15 as well as 16A through G and 17A through E. Trade you, if you could take a look at state 15
Yes, ma'am.
and tell me how you recognize it.
Yeah, I recognize it. Labeled as DNA swabs of Mr. Jerry Moore. It's got my name and ID number down at the bottom.
Right, and a DNA swab, is that a buccal swab?
Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about that with some other witnesses, that was inside of the cheek
Yes,
swab.
yes, ma'am.
Did you follow all proper procedures and protocols to prevent from cross-contamination or
gloves.
Yes, ma'am.
I would admit 15 evidence. No objection.
State's Exhibit number 15 is admitted.
Alright. And you took some photographs of Mr. Moore. Is that just standard procedure?
Yes, ma'am. I'd say so.
And are those marked at 16 inches?
Let's see, 16G. Yes, ma'am.
And 16A through G fair and accurate depictions and photographs of Jerry Moore on August 14th, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
I would do 16A through G in that evidence.
No objection.
State's Exhibit 16A through G is admitted.
You also mentioned that you took some photographs of his cell phone, Mr. Moore's.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking at 17A through E, are those fair and accurate depictions of the photographs taken of Mr. Moore's cell phone?
Yes, ma'am.
I would do 17A through E in the evidence.
No objection.
State's Exhibit number 17A through E are admitted.
Commissioner Hooker?
You may.
Alright, so we'll start with 16. A. The raw photos of Moore.
Yes, ma'am.
16B.
A little closer up of face. Yes, ma'am.
16C.
Be of his right hand. Yes,
And 16D.
ma'am. Be of his left hand.
Why do you do that? Why do you get credit for this hand?
I'd say it's pretty much standard when we are investigating a homicide of any persons that might be on scene to see any defensive wounds or any kind of evidence, really.
Was there any evidence of defensive wounds or injuries?
Not that we could see, no, ma'am.
16E.
Just be the backside of Mr. Moore.
16F.
His left shoe print
And 16D.
would be his right shoe print.
Anything of intrinsic value or that caught your attention with Mr. Moore or his clothing? Anything like that?
No, ma'am. We generally get shoe impressions to compare to any that might be found on scene.
And he wasn't wearing boots, was he? Tennis shoes.
Those were the shoes he was wearing, yeah.
17A. 17A. This is a photograph of Mr. Moore's cell phone.
Yes, ma'am. The backside.
17B.
Yeah, that looks like it'd be his home screen.
17C.
Yeah, he was going through his call log, just showing date and time of when he got phone calls from his nephew.
Okay, and this is a contact card in the phone. Who is this for?
He identified it as Mr. Harvey's cell phone.
Alright, and that phone number is 850-294-0722.
Yes, ma'am.
17B.
Just more of his, I guess, I'm sorry, that last picture was just his contact information. This would be his call detail records, call log.
His call log from the cell phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is this just for calls to Mr. Harvey and from Mr. Harvey?
Yes, ma'am.
And 17B, the configuration of the calls.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So I want to ask specifically, were there some calls that were relevant to your investigation based on your interview with Mr. Moore?
Yes, he,
And you don't, you're not telling me what he said.
Okay. Yep.
Did the call logs corroborate that those calls did take place?
yes, ma'am, they did.
And was it consistent with the approximate time that the stated the calls took place?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, looking at 17E, there's a 40-second call at 12:21 a.m., and that's on August 14th.
That's correct. Yes,
And
ma'am.
that was an incoming call from Mr. Harvey.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then another at 1:35 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like maybe a call that at 0 seconds at 4:59 a.m.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And then a call at 10 a.m.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
was an incoming call from Mr. Harvey and Mr. Moore,
That's-
lasting a minute and 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. That's
Right?
correct.
And what about the last one?
It's an incoming call at 5:38 a.m., less than 26 seconds.
Okay. Was that the extent of the phone calls between Mr. Moore and Mr. Harvey on August 13th and August 14th?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
And while you're with Mr. Moore, is somebody else kind of doing some similar things with Mr. Harvey?
Yes, ma'am.
Based on your interview with Mr. Moore, do you obtain some information that led you to conduct another interview at the Days Inn at 3100 Botney Place?
Yes, ma'am.
And who did you speak with there?
I believe it was Mr. Gary Knight.
Okay. And did you speak with somebody who worked at the Days Inn as well?
I did.
Okay, and who was that?
I'm not sure I can pronounce his name properly. If I can refer to my report, though. Can try. Mr. Atit Desai.
What was his relationship to the Days Inn?
He was the front desk manager, or managing the front desk.
And I guess, were you trying to, what was the purpose of interviewing the front desk manager?
Based on the information we obtained, Mr. Harvey had traveled to that hotel, and so we spoke with the front desk manager to see if he was aware of any instances out there.
Were you aware if there was any surveillance video at the Days Inn?
I don't believe there was any surveillance video.
After your initial interview with Mr. Moore, and that was on, I guess, in the afternoon of August 14th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you respond out to Botney Place?
Yes, ma'am. That was actually after Days Inn we responded to Botney Place. Yes.
Okay. Why did you go out to Botney Place?
We knew, or we had gotten information that Mr. Harvey had traveled there as well, so it was just kind of standard procedure to do a canvass.
And was that Mr. Moore's residence or where Mr. Moore was staying?
It was, and he was home when we got there.
What was the address of Mr. Moore's residence?
If I can refer to my report
Sure.
for the numerics. It would have been 2811 Botney Place.
Can you kind of explain to the jury the setup of Botney Place?
Yeah, it's a street that has townhomes, so attached homes, pretty much. I think every single one of them in there is a townhome.
Okay. When you arrived at 2811 Botney Place, was Mr. Moore there?
He was.
And did you speak with him?
I did.
Right? Did he provide you some additional information about something he had witnessed at the court?
He did, yes, ma'am.
And what was the context of why he was just telling you at that point?
I believe he just told me he forgot to mention this during our initial interview. I believe coming home and being in the place that he was, he had a recollection that there was more information he had about the incident.
Like it triggered his memory?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
And was he forthcoming with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he cooperative throughout the investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he a suspect though?
No, ma'am. No.
And why was that? Why was he a suspect?
Well, to label somebody as a suspect, I generally would like to have some sort of indication that they committed a crime, and at that time we had no indication that he had.
He was a witness.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So, after you go back out and speak with Mr. Moore, did he show you anything? What did he do?
Yeah, he took me to their backyard. He explained to me that he saw, on the morning in question, he saw Mr. Harvey in the backyard and saw something burning, saw a fire. So he took me back to the backyard and showed me where there was a small circle of burnt items.
Was that fire still blowing when you were there?
It was not.
Was it smoking? Was it?
No, it pretty much appeared to have been extinguished for a while.
Did you make contact with Mr. Moore's neighbor, who was at 2809 Botney Place?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And what was the plan of making contact with her?
She told us that she had looked in her trash can and saw a shirt that did not belong.
Just affected him?
That her statement, how it affected him in the investigation.
Sustained.
Based on the information you received from her, did you go look at the trash can?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Whose trash can did they look at?
It would have been hers.
Her trash can. What was located in that trash can?
I believe a shirt was. I was there when the search happened, but we did notify our crime scene detectives to come document all of that. So.
Okay. Were you also involved in obtaining some search warrants for various digital evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and did that include some call detail records for Mr. Harvey's 2 phone numbers and Ms. Hill's phone number?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did it also include obtaining a search warrant for some Xfinity surveillance video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and talk to me about that Xfinity surveillance video. Where was that located?
It was located at one of the neighbors there at Botney Place, kind of near the entrance of the street. We couldn't get in touch with the homeowner, and we, assumed that the video that it would have captured would have been pertinent to this investigation.
And so you obtained a search warrant for that, and did you provide the returned records for those items to Detective Gaines?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was Detective Gaines?
He was assigned as the lead detective on this case.
Any cross? Go ahead.
Now, you learned through your involvement that Officer Bauman knew Jerry Moore, right?
That he knew Jerry Moore? I don't know if I ever learned that. Did they, are you saying they knew each other personally?
Is there the name work together?
I was not aware of that.
And during your interaction with Jerry Moore, he directed you to his text messages, right?
I believe he directed me to his call logs.
And you took pictures of the call logs and the text messages.
I don't know if I took any pictures of text messages. I remember the call logs, yes, ma'am.
And you didn't, he voluntarily gave you the stuff, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't scroll through his contacts to see if Roger made any contact?
Not that I recall, no, ma'am.
You didn't look for her number below August 13th or 14th in his call log?
No, ma'am.
You looked through text messages to see whether or not you had communicated?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Moore never told you about fire at Botney Place during the interaction with him, right?
During the initial interview, he did not.
When he was at the police station, called during his phone, all that.
Correct.
And you did not select Mr. Moore's phone.
No, ma'am.
So it couldn't have been processed later for additional information.
I'm sorry?
That would have allowed it to be processed later for additional information.
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified that you went to 2011 Botney Place later. That's when you were talking about the fire, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did not go into the home 2811 Botney Place, correct?
Correct.
You have no way of knowing whether or not this fire pit is more indicated to be visible from inside the home or anything like that.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
And just a last question. Did you call Mr. Moore and tell him that you were going to invest in Botney Place?
I don't recall if we called him before we went there or not.
Do you recall
Will you redirect them?
just briefly? Detective Howard, why did not left Mr. Moore's phone?
At the time when I interacted with him, he was seen as a witness. We generally try to get the pertinent information in the preliminary stage of the investigation without hindering, taking possessions.
Okay. And we talked about call detail records, and the defense was asking you about, well, did you call off, did you do a few things, and can you explain to the jury what are call detail records?
Well, call detail records would be information we get from a cellular service provider, something we can get basically remotely from them. We don't have to have the physical phone to obtain call detail records.
And that would have all the call logs, all the list of the numbers, to from text messages, to from calling, stuff like that.
Correct, yes, ma'am.
So even though you didn't get Mr. Moore's physical phone, we could look at Mr. Moore's call detail records to see if he did have contact with Ms. Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. But that would be probably someone that might be you, probably Detective James or somebody else to analyze those records.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm making
All right, sir, you may step down. State your next witness.
He calls Sergeant Jason Monier.
Good afternoon, sir. If I could have you pause right there, face our clerk, raise your right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, now just have a seat here. State when you're ready.
Good afternoon. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Sure. I'm Sergeant Jason Monier, Leon County Sheriff's Office. Last name Moninger.
And you said you work for the Sheriff's Office. What do you do for them?
Right now, I work for the Marshals Task Force as a supervisor over it.
Okay. How long have you been with us? So,
Almost 14 years.
back in August of 2021, what role were you playing with them?
Back then, I was the co-supervisor of the SVU and VCU, who's the Violent Crimes and Special Victims Unit.
And when a homicide or a violent crime happens, is it kind of a team of people that are on the scene, including supervisors like you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you one of the supervisors that helped on this team of investigations for this case?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to specifically direct you to Botney Place. Did you respond to 2811 Botney Place on August 14th?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember about the time that you responded?
It was late. It was late at night.
You know why you were there?
Yes, to back up a little bit, I was coordinating with the detectives and the supervisors who were at the office conducting interviews and such, and I was the kind of the intermediary with the evidence people. I was just kind of overseeing, helping where I could. At that time, we'd kind of wrapped up the primary scene, and I was coordinating with the detectives in the office, and they informed me that there was possible follow-up to conduct at Botney Place with one of the witnesses.
Okay. And so that is what led you to Botney Place. Were you there with Detective Howard?
Yes.
Right. And what did you two locate at Botney Place?
When we found out there was more interview to do, I sent him ahead. He spoke with the witness on the scene. He then called me and said there was some work to do over at Botney. And so I responded, and that's where we were directed to the backyard where we could see evidence of what looked like a burn pit.
Okay. What could you tell at that point in time was in the pit?
It was hard to tell. It was completely charred. Looked like some remnants of maybe some electronic equipment, some paper, maybe some pieces of fabric. It was already out at that point, so it was hard to tell.
Okay. So it wasn't smoking?
Not that I recall.
Did it appear to you it had been out for some period of time?
Yes, ma'am.
When you find something like that, what do you do?
At that point, we held the scene because I knew I was going to need an evidence technician to come out and do the collection. So at that point, we just kind of locked things down and waited for the evidence technician to show up.
All right. Did there come a point while you were waiting for them to show up that a trash can was looked at?
Yeah, and so to back up, the whole reason we were there is we had an indication that there had been a fire pit in the backyard. To get to that backyard, you have to walk around the side of the building, which is a triplex. And so you have to walk around the side of that building to get to that backyard. And when we did that walk, there was a trash can located on the north side of that building.
Okay. I'm sure there's a lot of trash cans in a lot of places. Why look at this?
In particular, we were interested in that because it was the natural route someone would have to take to get to the backyard. The way those backyards are set up, the gate to that one backyard is situated pointing towards the north. So you have to actually go through another backyard just to get to that gate. And the natural progression from the parking area to that backyard area, you would have to pass that garbage can.
Okay. And were you aware, as being part of this team, that the investigative team was looking for a potential black shirt that
Yes,
may
ma'am.
have been worn at the time of the murder by Mr. Harvey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Up until that point, had any black shirt been found?
No, ma'am. Not one that was consistent with what we thought we were looking for.
Okay. Did you guys receive permission from that neighbor at Botney to open the trash can?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was located in the trash can?
A black shirt was located on the very top of all the garbage.
At some point when you're out in that backyard area, are you walking around the wood line?
The way that the yard is situated, there's a little low fence. There was the burn area, so I was holding there to wait. And right behind that fencing area, is a wood line. And when I say right behind, it's immediately behind the fence line. And it was dark, so I'm using my flashlight to look around. And yes, I was sweeping that back area because I could notice trash and things of that nature in the woods.
Did you find anything of evidence of value?
Yes, it was at that point that I noticed a black plastic bag with what appeared to be a barrel of a pistol or a firearm sticking out of it.
How close was the bag to 2811 Botney Place?
It was directly behind it and within what I would call easy throwing distance, probably 10, 15 feet tops. Wasn't very far.
And that was from the fenced-in area?
Yes, ma'am.
Of 2011? All right. So once you find this potential evidence, same with the burn pit, you kind of hold the perimeter and get a crime scene unit to come out.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that Detective Chris Smith in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions?
Any cross?
And Sergeant, you said you were coordinating with other detectives. Would that be Detective James?
I believe he was the primary, yes.
Were you his supervisor at that meeting?
Yes, a co-supervisor, yes, ma'am.
So would you have been telling him what decisions to make, what things to do, or did he preview that as well?
He was at the main office, which I wasn't there, so at that point there was no coordination. I would get a phone call from him and say, hey, this is something we need to look for. Hey, is there anything like this on scene? That was basically it as far as my interaction with him on that particular case.
So he's free to make his own decisions how to make his case forward, right?
I would say it depends on, we have to ensure that the case is moving smoothly. It was a unique case in that I was on the scene for the evidence, so he was at the office kind of under different supervision.
And following the collection of the evidence, would Detective James have been responsible for determining how that was processed?
Typically, yes. It's usually a discussion afterwards of what to do with all the evidence. It's usually a team effort.
Any redirect?
Yes, sir. Can you please?
Thanks, you're free to go. State your next witness.
Chris Smith, part 2.
Good afternoon, sir. Just remind you, you're still under oath from before. You can resume your seat there and state when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Welcome back. So last we spoke, we had left off with you were called out to a secondary scene separate from Cathedral, and that was on Botney Place.
Yes, it was.
Okay, Coach.
You may.
I'll show you a set of composite photographs. The first is composite 18A through double K. The second is 21B through D. And the third is 24A and B. I can have you look at composite 18 first, and how you recognize those.
Okay.
Photos 18A through 18 double K, fair and accurate depictions of the secondary scene at Botney Place and your collection of missing copies.
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to publish, or I'm sorry, remove 18A through double K amendments.
Objection to those?
Objection.
States Exhibit 18A through double K admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may.
So starting with 18A, can you orient us to what we're looking at?
Yes, this is 2811 Botney Place. And a trash can in front of that location.
Which, is this 2811's trash can?
Yes, it has 2811 on it.
Did you look inside 2811's trash can?
Yes.
Alright, and is that what we see in PC?
Yes, that's what we see.
Anything of evidentiary value would be there.
Not in that one.
Going to 18B, can you orient us to kind of the path we're going to be going on?
Sure, 2809 is the end unit. Next to it is 2811. So what we're going to do is just come around this corner and go towards the backyards.
Right, is that kind of this path in between the two buildings where my cursor is?
Yes, it is.
18E,
Yes, that is in between the two residences and the trash can that we went in.
alright, so this trash can is whose trash can? You know,
I do not know.
it's the one next to 2811.
Yes, it is.
18F,
Just getting closer to it.
and 18E.
Yes, that's the contents. Undisturbed, we just opened the top and I photographed it.
Anything in particular that was collected in the photo?
In this photo, if you look towards the bottom, the black t-shirt was collected.
18E.
Yes, it's a closer photo of the black t-shirt.
And was it inside out?
That appears to be, I don't remember.
18I.
Another photo. The black t-shirt.
18J.
That's where we're headed towards the backyard behind 2809 and 2811.
You collect that black t-shirt as evidence?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Yes.
You may.
I'm showing you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 19. You need to look at the back for your original copy.
Yes. Okay.
How do you recognize State's Exhibit 19?
Basically by the label and the tape.
Okay, and that's your original packaging?
It is.
It's been packaged and clear so the jury can see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, is that the black t-shirt recovered from this trash can we see in 18I?
Yes, it is.
18I?
Yes, ma'am.
I would move 19 into evidence.
No objection.
19 is admitted.
Okay, moving on to 18K. What are we looking at now?
That is the backyard of 2809.
Where like this tree and the bike are?
Yes.
Okay, what about this fenced in area?
That's the backyard of 2811.
Are these photographs, sorry, are you walking towards 2011 backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's 18L, and then 18M.
This is a small fire in the backyard behind 2811.
Right. Was this, you know, call it a burn pit, but was it like made, a place that was made for fires, or was this just a spot on the ground?
It appeared to be a spot on the ground. I looked at it this way. The fire is here, but the lawnmower is so close, the tire had melted rubber on it. And it just didn't look like a pit, just so it wasn't safe. It was kind of thrown together.
And where my cursor is, was there burn, what did you locate?
Right, so we had this paper from a booklet in and around the fire. So, of course, to stop it from burning, we moved it out, and that's what we have here. It's the manual to a Ring camera.
I mean, was this still on fire?
The fire was still going. Yeah, it was still smoldering pretty good.
What was recovered from the fire?
That was the battery pack for the Ring camera that we recovered.
And similar, I guess, you talked to us about how you went through a fire at the pit area at Cathedral. Did you do the same thing for this?
Yes, this was a lot shallower. This was basically a surface level fire. There was no pit.
All right. How do you come through it without destroying anything?
Very carefully, we just tried to move it out and stop the burning process.
You may.
I'm showing you what I have marked as states 20, states 22, and states 23.
Okay.
Actually, while I'm at it, I approach again.
You may.
That's one out. Also approaching with what I have marked as 21A. Alright, so I'd like to start with what I have marked as states 20.
Okay.
Hold that and help me recognize it.
I've got that. That is the Ring battery that had been burnt.
After you recovered it from this area, you take photographs, or were photographs taken of it back in the lab.
Yes.
And, well, let me ask you first, the state's 20, and other than being put in a basket so that the jury could see it, has it been tampered with or altered in any way?
It is not.
Okay, I would move 20 into evidence. No objection.
20 is admitted.
Photographs, you have states 24A and B in front of you. Photographs of both burning battery.
Yes, I do.
Are those fair enough for your depictions with the photographs taken of the burning battery once it got back to the lab?
Yes, ma'am.
And move 24A into evidence.
Objection to that?
No, no.
Stage Exhibit 24A and B admitted. You may.
Were you able to tell if it matched to the ring door valve that was located at Cathedral?
Yes, ma'am. We looked at the model numbers and compared those.
And for B, just with the scale.
With the scale.
And my guess is a battery doesn't usually look like this, a ring battery.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can you explain, I guess, what are we missing a lot?
We're missing the plastic part that had melted in the fire.
You also recover some other metal and electrical items or equipment from the fire.
Yes, ma'am, we did. Or I did.
And looking at, we can start with 21A, is a paint can in front of you.
Mhm.
Can you explain to the jury why there is evidence inside the paint can?
Right, evidence that we may send off to the Arson Bureau or anything recovered in a fire, we put in the cans and then secure it that way.
Is 21A, are those, does that contain the contents that we see outside of the ring battery and the paper
And
from this fire?
yes, ma'am, it does.
Are we doing 21A in evidence?
Yes. So State's Exhibit 21A is submitted.
Have you had a chance to look at these in front of you, 21B, C, and D, some photographs of what's actually inside 21A evidence?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Right, and they're just fair and accurate depictions of the items located in
Yes,
right, they're pretty messy.
it is.
Right. I would do 21B through D in evidence. No objection.
21B through D are admitted.
Permission.
You may.
So looking at 21B, this is the paint can on the left. Can you talk us through some of the items that were located in the burn pit that we see here?
Right. There is, of course, some leaves and dirt, but the items that caught our eye, this, I'm not sure if you can see it here, if you can move
Which step?
just straight across to your left, right there. Parts that look like that look melted. And we had some wires, we had a drill bit, we had some other things in there we weren't sure of, so I just collected as much of that as I could.
Going to 21C, so close up on some of the metal that was located.
Yes, ma'am, we have some screws, the drill bit again, and some electrical connections.
Okay. And the electrical connections are those these things with that little horseshoe shapes on them?
Yes.
And 21B, is that what you were kind of zeroing in on before?
It is.
And what was this consistent with?
Wasn't sure what we had. It was maybe plastic. I wasn't sure, so we just collected it.
It's like consistent with the concept on the last bit.
Yes.
Are you aware of what most Monier cell phones are made out of?
Plastic, glass, electronics.
So looking at 18Q, I think I also provided you with states 22 and 23.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you take a look at 22 and tell me what that is?
It's like possibly a cotton glove, like a garden glove.
Can you see it in the photo 18Q?
Yeah, there's parts of it. We can go up a little bit. I believe it's still near the pit, the other direction. I think there's a part here of it.
Fire area?
Yes, before we got it out. In here, right where your cursor is.
And other than the clip plastics, which are concealed in the paper, those are all put in anyway?
No, ma'am.
Other than 22 in evidence?
All right. Stage 22 is admitted.
Okay. And then I want to ask you about stage 23. You also have that from you?
I have it.
Okay. What's stage 23?
Stage 23 is the ring manual.
All right. And where do we see that in the burn area?
That's the papers that we pulled out of the fire.
Other than being put in plastic, did they see what it was? Has it been tampered with or altered?
No.
Has been 23 in evidence? Okay.
State's Exhibit 23 is admitted.
Alright, and I think you mentioned it was part of a ring manual. How
Yes.
do you know that?
It had ring instructions on it, and the barcode that we saw with the numbers 86368 in the scan code on the ring camera itself.
So that manual went to that specific model of ring
Lisa, yes, ma'am.
that was found in the house.
Yes.
So were you able to take some pictures of, I guess, the rest of the backyard area? Is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
18R and then
That's what we're looking at.
18S. So is this Mr. Moore's residence, 2011 Botney?
Yes.
Okay. What's that?
I believe that's the window to the kitchen, but we never made entry into the house.
Okay. So there's a window overlooking this
Yes.
backyard. Alright, so I want to go back to an earlier image.
Yes.
18K. Were there some firearms located in the wood line?
There were. So if you were to walk through the little alleyway between the two residences and turn to the right a bit, in the tree line there were some guns recovered.
Were they like in your face, readily apparent when you walked back there?
No, they were in plastic bags, like shopping bags. There's a barrel sticking out of one.
So looking at 18B, what area were they located?
It's going to be at the center of the screen where the bags are. Yep.
And is my cursor kind of up
Yes.
that barrel?
And here's the barrel. Yep.
18W, close up to the barrel.
It is.
18X, what's that little GPS?
18X. This is a GPS monitor that, or a handheld device that we have that we photograph, so we know the lat and long the evidence we collect. Because it's, as you tell, it's hard to describe in a forested area where evidence is located. So if we ever have to go back or explain it in greater detail, we have the lat long, even though it could be, GPS is off a little bit just by design.
18Y,
18Y is the bag, a scale, and the GPS monitor.
and then 18Z.
Right, that's the bag open.
How many firearms were located in the bag?
There's 3 firearms.
So looking at 18AA, what was the first firearm on top?
The first firearm is a Lorson.
What was the caliber?
Lorson, I believe, I have to look, it was a 9mm.
18AA, 18BB. So is this, you're taking each firearm out and then taking a photo?
Right.
When you are processing a crime scene and you obtain a firearm, are there steps you have to take?
Yes, of course. Want to make sure there's, the firearm is safe. So we, photograph it in place, take out the magazine, clear the chamber, and make sure that, no one around gets hurt.
Okay. So 18CC, is this whole Lorson?
It is. Magazine.
Double B, that's just the other side of the Lorson.
Yes, it is.
And 18 double B, is it the magazine?
It is.
Alright, going to 18 double F, what's the next firearm that was pulled out of the bag?
That's the 6-hour 9mm.
18 double T,
That's the magazine with rounds in it.
how many rounds
There's 3 rounds left.
And what was the magazine capacity?
The magazine capacity was 10.
18 double eights after the magazine was taken out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that shot was for the serial number as well.
Got it.
And I was fighting with my flash that night, so.
About 18 double I.
That's the 44 Magnum that was in the bag.
Right? And so different than a 9mm semi-automatic?
The 44?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Very, very different.
Alright, so what type of bullet does this 44 fire?
It's a 44 Magnum.
44 caliber. And
Yeah, caliber
it's
magazine.
a revolver versus a semi-automatic.
That is the revolver.
18 double K. Were there any rounds located on it?
No.
Did you collect each of these firearms as well as the plastic bags that they were recovered in?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
May I approve?
Amen.
All you're taking all of it says, permission to publish to the jury. It's 20 and it's 23.
Amen.
It's 23.
Amen.
Right. I was asked by my supervisor to try and locate some fingerprints. So we used black powder, and then I used a chemical called basic yellow, which you can see under different light waves to pull prints.
Okay. Were you able to obtain any fingerprints from that?
No, I had prints of interest, but I couldn't tell what they were, so I sent them to our latent print examiner.
All right. Who's that?
Felicia Bowen.
Okay. In all of the scenes that you processed, was that the only item you were able to obtain any kind of check off?
Yes.
Alright, so looking first at stage 25. Should be in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is stage 25?
Oh,
Sorry.
the actual,
To the,
the bags. Just waiting for the photo. This is the bags, the yellow and black bags that the 3 firearms were located in.
okay. Other than being put in plastics to be very good see it, the tampered with or altered in any
It
way?
has not.
I would move 25 in evidence. Yes.
25 is admitted.
Alright, so I guess we can go to 27.
Okay.
Alright, what's stage 27?
Stage 27 is the Lorson semi-automatic with the magazine and the 3 rounds.
And is that the firearm depicted in stage 16 that will be on the screen right now?
Yes, it is.
Other than being sent to FDLE for processing, has it been tampered with or altered in any way?
Yeah, it is not.
I would move 27 and
Any objections?
No objection.
Stage 20, Exhibit 27 is entered.
and looking next at stage 28.
Okay.
What is stage 28?
Stage 28 is the Sig Sauer P365 9mm in its original packaging.
Is it depicted in the photograph on screen in double F right now?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Other than being sent to FDLE, is it appear to have been tampered with or altered in any way?
No.
Other than 28 in evidence?
No objection.
States Exhibit 28 is admitted.
And finally, moving to the firearm depicted in 18 double I. Can you tell us, is that the firearm you have in front of you is stage 26?
Yes, it's the Ruger Super Blackhawk 44 Magnum.
And it's similar to the question I asked you earlier about that Cal-Pac that was found at the house in the shoebox. A 44 Magnum revolver does not fire 9mm rounds.
No, ma'am.
Right? So it couldn't have been the murder weapon.
It could not have been.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's testifying. She has asked non-leading questions.
Could it have been the murder
Sustained.
weapon?
No, it could not have been the murder weapon.
I would move 26 in evidence.
No objection.
States Exhibit 26 is admitted.
And when we're talking about processing of firearms, is that something that you do, or does that get sent off to FDLE where a firearms analyst there performs more analysis?
We sent the firearms to FTLE.
The 2 9mm.
Yes.
Does that include the involvement, your involvement in this case?
Yes, it did.
Maybe.
Any cross?
I'm trying to make this clear.
Hi again.
Hello.
Thank you for coming back.
Absolutely.
So am I right that you were leaving Cathedral Drive when you got a call to go to Botney Place?
That is correct. I was going back to the office.
And you were going to drop all of the stuff that you had collected at Cathedral Drive?
Yes.
And evidence on that? Okay, but you got intercepted before you could do that.
I did.
All right, and was that around midnight?
It was after midnight, yeah. Somewhere there around.
It was after midnight.
I believe so.
Okay, and And so that would be August 15th of 2021 at that
Mhm.
point?
It would have been.
All right. And you were notified by detectives that you needed to go to another crime scene.
I was called by my sergeant after I received a call from Sergeant Monier, who testified earlier.
Okay. So you're correcting me and say it's not a detective, it was a sergeant?
I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And when you got there, you said the fire pit was smoking.
Yes, it was still warm.
Still warm.
Mhm.
This is after midnight on August 15th of 2020.
Yes.
Okay. And you collected 9 items from Botney Place, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I believe you just told us that the only print of interest that you found was on the manual from the burn pit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you said that completion?
Bowen. Mm-hmm.
And you don't process any firearms footprints, is that correct?
That's, in this case, no. We can process for DNA and for prints if we're asked to.
But in this particular case, you didn't process those guns?
No, I did not.
Okay. So when you say the only print of value you found, it didn't come from any of the guns?
I didn't look at any of the guns. I
Okay.
kept them in the box and secured them and sent them to our vault.
All right. Did you process the home at Cathedral Drive for any prints?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't find any of that?
No. We remember near the front door there was the smear mark. We did look. Couldn't find any ridges or valleys. And
Did you process any of the door handles?
no, I did not.
Now, in some of the photos we just saw, you near the burn area at Botney Place. And I'm sorry,
If I can go back real quickly, I didn't process with black powder or any fingerprint dust because in the back door in particular, we used the Blue Star, and it went ahead and hit for a substance like blood. So then we collected that, or I collected that as evidence.
okay, so just to be clear, when you process it for Blue Star and you spray it with the chemical agent,
Yep.
it illuminates,
Yes.
correct? And that indicates the presence of blood.
Yes.
It's not a confirmation of blood,
It's,
correct?
if it finds blood, it could react to another compound like copper.
Okay, and it reacts to any blood, not human blood, right?
That is correct.
Okay. But am I wrong in understanding that Blue Star illuminates to the presence of blood and then an additional test needs to be done in order to confirm if it's blood?
Right, we could tell human versus animal with another test, but with homicide, what we're going to do is send it all off to the lab as it is.
Okay, and
We
that's
don't
what
mess with
you
that.
did in this case.
Absolutely.
You sent it all off to the lab.
Yes.
What lab was that?
That would be FDLE. I didn't send it. That was something that the other detective sent.
Okay, so that goes back to my original question several hours ago. You collect everything, but you don't decide what's sent off to the lab.
I do not decide.
Okay, you collect it, and so when you say it could be sent off to FDLE, whether it is or it isn't, your job is complete.
My job is completed. Yeah, that's their job.
Okay. And I'm sorry that I'm jumping around.
No, it's fine.
If I'm confusing, please let me know.
No, no.
The burn area at Botney Place, this is the second burn pit,
Second burn pin, yes.
burn area. You would classify the burn area at Cathedral as a burn pit, correct?
We could. It was a little deeper.
Okay. And then the burn area at Botney is a second.
That is true. Yes.
And just to clarify, there's nothing of evidentiary value at the Cathedral Drive.
I didn't find anything at Cathedral.
Okay. So when we were looking at the photos at Botney of the burn area, you said the wheel of the lawnmower had been burned.
It looks like it had been melted. I looked at all the other tires on the lawnmower, and that one looked like it, either had incredible wear from incredible weight on the front left side or fire. So it looked like, based on where the fire was and the heat that could have been, from the fire at the beginning, when it was still really going, it would have melted that rubber.
Okay.
So that's how it looked like.
Did you take any close-up photos of
I did not.
Okay. So what we saw is the best we got?
That is.
Okay. Now you talked a little bit about a battery that was found in the burned area at Botney.
Yes.
And you said that you compared the battery to the model number. Is
Right.
that correct?
Yeah, there was a call made to Ring, and there was some online searching as well.
Okay. You did not match a serial number, is that right?
I don't remember serial numbers
Okay.
because I don't remember that. It would be model to model and what I'd be interested in.
Yes, sir. But a serial number, if you had matched that, you would have notated that.
I would have.
Okay. And then that paint can looking thing that was just entered, you said you collect stuff that has been burned to send to the arson bureau.
Right. We could send it off to FDLE, and we could call the fire marshal, the state's fire marshal, and they do have a lab. So if we needed to have that, but that's not my call.
Again, you're just collecting.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this particular case, you don't know if it was ever sent off.
I have no idea.
All right. There's a total of 4 guns that you collected.
4 guns that yeah, 3 guns that were collected, 1 that was not collected.
So the gun that was found at Cathedral Drive was not collected? The Caltech 32?
I would have to look at the report again, but I don't believe I collected that one.
Okay, so you just left it in the house?
Like I said, I'd have to look at the report. I don't remember that.
You may.
Into your initial report, page 6 of 11, SW1. Tell me if you can tell from the report.
Yep, I collected that with 7 rounds.
Okay. So you collected a total of 4 guns
Yes.
in all of the scenes that you went to. Just one little area to follow up on.
Okay.
You don't typically talk to any witnesses.
I don't talk to witnesses
Okay.
normally. No, we leave that to violent crimes. So the way it works is we have violent crimes who does the interviews and does the investigation after the scene. Crime scene that sends detectives in to collect the evidence. And then we have the autopsy. So then we have the medical doctor and our team in there, and we put everything together that way.
Okay. So in this case, when you went to Botney Place, you didn't speak to the owner of the house.
I did not.
All right, you're in the approach to collect?
You may.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
State, any redirect? Go ahead.
I just meant you were asked about the fire that was still smoldering.
Yes.
I mean, does that surprise you? I think you mentioned there had been some rain.
Yeah, there was mist, rain that evening.
Okay. In your experience, have you worked a decent amount of fires or burn pits or that sort of thing?
Fair amount.
They stay hot for a really long time.
They can.
And even if it rains.
It depends on the rain.
Okay. But what about rain that's not bending?
I'm not exactly sure how much rain they received at Botney because I spent most of my night at Cathedral and day.
But it wasn't still like lit on fire.
No, there was no flames, no, it had died down.
Did it appear like it had been like set very soon prior?
No.
To, like, it had been
It was, yes, most likely there for some time.
All right, sir, you may step down.
Thank you.
And I think that's a good stopping point for the day for you all. So if, just please remember my instructions. Don't discuss the case with anyone, and don't do any research regarding the case. Come back tomorrow just as you are now, knowing only about the case what you've heard in this courtroom. And that'll be it for today. You're excused. All rise for the jury. Please be seated. State you have a couple items up here, I guess. Deputy Wright will take care of it for you. So did the parties get the jury instructions?
I have not opened my email.
If you could do that real quick.
Sure.
And Ms. Fox, are you still anticipating Zoom testimony?
Yes, sir. That'll be tomorrow. I think we're probably going to bump Mr. Williamson up after Dr. Clark based on his availability.
So that the Zoom was for,
Keith Williamson.
just, okay, there's him. Okay. And you said, I guess you're implying that would be in the morning now?
I would like to do a short break after Dr. Clark and then get the Zoom set up and have Mr. Williamson testify.
All right, so we can go off the record for it, but I would like to test the Zoom today to see where we stand on that.
Test it with Mr. Williamson?
No, just, well, I guess with somebody. Just so we can get audio, make sure it's working.
I know he's not available today.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe somebody in your office could sign on. I don't know.
Sure, I just need to create a Zoom link.
So while we're pulling those jury instructions up, is either side requesting any special or novel instructions?
No, Judge, not at this time. I have not had a chance to look through what your judicial assistants sent.
There's nothing special or novel about them.
Right.
They're all standards. So you think there may be a special or novel instruction right now?
No, I don't anticipate that at this time.
Okay. So, how about lessers for count one? I have second degree and manslaughter. Are there any other lessers there?
No, sir. I'll let the state question.
Defense?
Judge, I have to look at, I have to look through the jury instructions to see if there's any additional.
Okay, and then I have count 2. I don't have any lessers for that one. The only one that I recall was there's the category 2 of attempt, but I don't think that would apply anyways. So, any comment on lessers as to count 2? Okay. Is either side requesting the law enforcement witness instruction?
I have no objection to it being included.
Yes, I vote.
Okay. And it doesn't seem like child witness would be a factor. Does anybody disagree? Okay.
Mr. I also don't think the compasses and informants would be applicable.
Oh, sorry, move the child witness defense. Do you have any comment on the compass?
Is this a formal charge conference?
It is one of them. I'm not sure
Okay.
how many more we're going to need.
Well, I just haven't had a chance to look at them. I understand you saying that, that there's nothing novel, but I'd like the opportunity to just review them and then talk to Mr. Harvey about that.
Okay, so you're not committing. That's fine. You don't have to commit to accomplices and informants right now. Do you also have the bifurcated instruction?
I do.
Yes, sir.
So I saw on the witness list that Mr. Balboni and the probation officer were stipulated. I guess I didn't quite understand what the stipulation was.
To the defendant's status as a convicted felon at the time of this offense.
Is that true, Ms. Brewer?
Yes, Your Honor.
The parties stipulating to that.
Yes.
And Mr. Harvey, do you understand what that means?
No.
You said no.
Say what now?
Can you get that mic a little bit closer?
Yes, sir.
No, what did you just ask?
I'm sorry?
I said, what did you just ask?
Did you understand when the parties stipulate to your status as a convicted felon as to count 3? It's not going to come up until later, but...
Oh, yes, I understand that.
Okay. And so you understand you have the right to hold the state to their burden to prove the fact that you're a convicted felon. If you stipulate it to it, then they no longer have to meet that burden. You understand that?
Yes.
And there could be reasons one way or the other that you'd want to do that. But you've consulted the attorneys and decide the best course for you is to go ahead and stipulate to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
As for the bifurcated judge, I think I'm probably going to have some proposed changes. How I've done in the past, depending on the jury's verdict, if they do come back with an interrogatory that the defendant actually possessed a firearm, then the bifurcated instructions I've used in the past has explicitly instructed them you are not to reconsider your earlier verdict. You are now only to consider the following because they've already unanimously found that you did possess a firearm.
Okay, yeah, it's certainly one possibility. So the only thing I flagged there and bifurcated was the optional definitions of knowingly. I think we could do both by sticking or in there, or the parties could decide which one they like better. If one side wants one and the other wants the other, I'd just put or, I guess, between them, but I don't know that they're all that different. But do the parties have preference on that knowingly at this point?
I'm fine with both saying
Okay, so the or would be after truth, and then the second knowingly and means would be deleted, and it's just say, of the facts or the truth or an act on so on and so forth. The rest of that sentence?
yes, sir.
All right, and then I'll recirculate that. So if if you think there's something that should change about it, you can let me know. Anything on the verdict form on the bifurcated part, we can go back to the other part.
I think potentially there might need to be an interrogatory for active possession. Depending, I mean, again, depending on, if the amendment is to apply, then the jury would need to find an actual possession confession. We've got, in this case, actual possession of the murder weapon, but also a couple of other firearms that I guess they could find constructive possession for.
Okay, so then it sounds like if there's an earlier finding, it couldn't carry over, right? Because they're two different definitions of actual possession.
Right, depending on what they find, we could, even if they find, I guess, him not guilty of everything, we could still have a secondary portion with possession of the other firearms. So it kind of is dependent upon the jury's verdict and their findings in the interrogatory for the initial charges.
All right, and so let's look at the verdict form on the first two counts for a moment. So there's enhancement questions on the overall charge, and then second-degree murder as a lesser included. And then there's just the one enhancement as to manslaughter. Is there any comment as to those findings at this point? Those questions? Are there any other interrogatories that would be needed? I mean, I don't know that victim injury. Is there any score sheet findings that are necessary?
If they convict him of murder, we automatically get that.
Okay.
It does need to be a separate interrogatory.
Defense, any different view on that?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I need to look at the verdict form with the instructions. I don't have an opinion at this point.
All right. So let me circulate a second version. There's a couple things I see are missing. So single defendant, multiple counts, and then there's the consulting with a lawyer prior to testimony. That for whatever reason that paragraph always falls out. So I'll put that in there, circulate a second version, hopefully tonight, but if not tomorrow morning. And if we have any time in the meantime tomorrow, we can look at them again.
Yes, sir. And I think it looks like on page 5 under manslaughter, it just has the carrying, displaying, or using only for manslaughter, but that would also be applicable to second-degree murder.
Well, it's charged, and so it doesn't apply to count one if it count one as charged. You're saying?
So, yes and no, right? So you can't enhance first-degree murder because the only legal sentence for first-degree murder is life. It doesn't get higher. The reason that I would ask for the actual possession interrogatories under first-degree murder is so that then for the bifurcated portion, you would potentially already have an actual possession finding. As to second-degree murder and manslaughter, you would have the 1020 life, actual possession, discharge causing great bodily harm or death, as well as 775-0871, the enhancement that's the display, use, threaten to use, attempt to use a deadly weapon or firearm. And so, if we want to put them all under first-degree murder, we can. We don't really need them under first-degree murder, except for the actual possession because of bifurcation. But for continuity, I mean, you can do them under all three. The only one that's different would be manslaughter because 1020 life doesn't apply to manslaughter.
Yeah, so I go back, and I don't know if we have to sort it out right now, but I don't know that actual possession. So I know you're imagining they convict it as charged, and then they find actual possession, and then somehow the bifurcation would be a little bit smoother with a specific structure. They couldn't reconsider that, but I don't think the definitions are the same. So I look at the jury instruction for possession of a firearm by convicted felon. You have to know of it and intentionally exercise control over it. And then actually possession, as defined by that aggravator, is carried it on his person or had it within immediate physical reach with ready access and intent. So I don't think that those findings would be the same.
I can take a look at it.
I mean, they sound the same, but it's two different actual possessions. Just based off the jury instruction.
Yes, and I understand that, but 1029 does apply to possession of firearm by convicted felon.
If you have enumerated prior, right?
No, it's a 3-year minimum.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that.
So there is an actual possession
But
component of.
the 1020 life, yeah, there's a 3-year man, but then the 1020 life is a different. You have to have an enumerated
It's
prior.
the same statute, it's just different punishments. So if you commit it during the course of a violent felony, it's 10 years. If you actually possess one, you just actually possess one, and you're convicted felon, it's 3 years. But it's the same statute, the same actual possess.
So you're wanting that actual possession as well in the bifurcation? Because I mean, you can't give it. You can't say, well, just look at the last one because it was specific to the first 2 counts, and we're keeping count 3 separate.
You can't. I mean, I can take a look in a prior case where I've done it and it was in a bifurcation and see what we did with that, and bring it tomorrow for Your Honor to look at. I can't think of what we did off the top of my head. But I mean, we would need, if we're doing it that way, we would need a interrogatory for actually possess a firearm for the bifurcated portion.
Okay. Anything else for the record? So I think we go off the record, and then State, do you want to pull up that Zoom? The Zoom text? I don't know what you mean when you say VRC. So what's being said on Zoom wouldn't be picked up unless you put it through the VRC, you're saying? Much better through VRC. And so how's VRC? But to do that, you're saying I have to do it on my computer? Or? They have to be on too. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we could accommodate that. They just need to be in the meeting. Yeah. What do you mean when you only have one VRC? You can only do one at a time, I guess? Okay. Do we take priority, or is there somebody else ahead of line? Do you want me to log into Zoom State?
Yes, please. I mean, it sounds like we're going to have to do it through the courtroom.
No, I think she's just saying they have to be in on it. They have to be in the meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I can circulate a Zoom invite, and I can do a test one now if you want.
That will work.
Do you have my old one? Like, I have a standard meeting one. You want to?
Yes.
Can you just start that?
Yeah, you can use that one. I can log into that now. And that way, you would be able to. I wouldn't have to bring my computer up to you or send you a link to log on to, and you can start the witness in from your computer.
So the 976 meeting ID ends in 5473. Is that the one you have? Do you have like a Mr. Gilday or somebody like that's not in the room? Because your audio has to be muted if you're in the room.
Yes, so I was just gonna step out and do that. It's
Okay,
not
let's try that.
assuming everybody's gone.
And can you get on this, Fox?
I'm trying to find a link. It's been a while since I've used it.
If I can just give you the whole thing, would that? The whole meeting ID? There's no password, so
Okay. Yeah.
you should be able just to type it in.
Okay. What's the idea?
It's 976-5957-5473. So do you guys use the Wi-Fi? Or you're not plugged in, right? You just use Wi-Fi?
Yes, and I'm on a VPN connection as well.
Okay, now I see. Oh, it dropped Miss Diaz for whatever reason. So are you going to plug yours in, Miss Fox?
I can, yeah, I can see it all.
And then when you plug yours in, whoever the witness would be, if you could put them on whatever, like the magnifying thing is, the pin on like
Yeah, I think I
pin. So they'll just stay and not switch back and forth. They don't. The jury's just able to see you. They don't need to see your screen. All right, Miss Diaz is going back. Yeah, both your sounds need to be muted. Your speaker sound and your microphone. Otherwise, you get that feedback.
Okay, my HDMI is connected to the courtroom audio.
Yeah, we'll see how it sounds with Miss Diaz
Okay.
right now. I see what you're saying, so that might be a problem.
When I've done this in the past, we just essentially, when you're swearing him in, I mute my
And then I mute otherwise?
my microphone, and then you would mute after that.
So I'm worried about if there's an objection where I want the witness to be able, I want to go through the court audio so they can hear the objection and stop talking, then they can hear my ruling. So we could switch whoever's speaking, kind of like we do in court.
Right. You should be able to do that if the HDMI would be the court audio that I'm connected to now.
Ms. Diaz, can you hear us? The first issue.
Probably joining maybe her audio is connecting.
Oh, that's my fault. She's talking. My computer's muted. Okay. Let's try that again. Go ahead, Ms. Diaz.
Can you hear me now?
Could be me, because I'm connected to the HDMI.
Try again.
Hello?
I'll mute myself. So she's talking, but we can't. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so can you hear me okay, Ms. Diaz? Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can't hear anything. I think you're muted, Judge.
Can you try, Ms. Fox? Oh, you're muted, I guess. So.
Yeah, I can unmute myself.
See what. So must provide a laptop that would hook up to HDMI cable that connects to the projector. They connect to Zoom through the wireless network. And Zoom will project on the screen. Simple answer. It's not working. All right. Maybe we could just tackle this problem at 8:45 tomorrow. Do you know when? Well, do you have somebody that will be available then, and then we'll have it set up?
Yes. I mean, Miss Diaz will be here, so she can be going.
Yes, I mean, Miss Diaz will be here, so she can.
Andy, can you hear me?
Andy, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Could you just hear Judge Hawks a minute ago?
Yeah, it's trying to go through your mic. I guess is probably just right on top of your laptop, right? Your Zoom mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think so. So if needed, I can always bring the podium up so that my laptop mic captures you.
So, can you mute yours again?
Yes.
Mute the other one too. All right. So, can you hear me that way now, Miss Diaz?
Yes.
Okay, but now we can't hear you.
It might just be one of those things where,
I think it's just my audio. I have to pick the right
or when you're talking,
speaker.
for the witness to talk, I've got to unmute the courtroom audios. It's on the HDMI cord. For the computer that's attached to, yes, the witness's voice is projected. I don't know about how to switch it.
Can you try again, Miss Diaz? I switched to a different speaker. Try to say something? No.
Oh, sorry, I muted.
No, I want to see if I get mine working, but try again, Miss Diaz. Oh, that's my computer speaker. That's terrible. Try again. No, that one doesn't do anything. Okay, yeah, so let's try again at 8:45. I'll have Mr. Danzler down. Maybe. Try that. Okay, well, anything else for today before we go? So we'll see everybody tomorrow at 1:45. All right. And Ms. Fox, are you using my Zoom ID? Do you want to use that one?
Yes, sir. That'll work. If that works.
Or I mean that meeting ID, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Oh wait.
No.
Yeah, you got the direct line.
Actually, I can get that over there. It seems like I got it. Did you have it?